Former President Trump campaigning today with RFK Jr., who gave up his bid for the presidency to endorse Donald Trump. Trump is now promising that RFK Jr. would have a major role in the Trump administration when it comes to women's and children's health. Rachel Scott with the Trump campaign in Wisconsin.
Tonight in must-win Michigan, Donald Trump urging his supporters forward towards the end of a long road.
But we're going to miss these rallies, aren't we, huh?
Like his Democratic rival, the former president closing on the #1 issue for voters, the economy.
And when we win, you are 4 days away from the best jobs, the biggest paychecks, and the brightest economic future the world has ever seen. You're going to be great. You're going to love it.
Traveling with Trump to Michigan today, one of his top supporters, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Kennedy, who has repeatedly spread debunked conspiracy theories about vaccines, dropped his own independent bid for the White House to back Trump. He says he's been promised a top role in a Trump administration.
If you want to see me go to Washington, you better vote for Donald Trump.
Today, Trump making this pledge.
How good was Bobby Kennedy Jr.? How good was he? And he's so into health and all. He's going to take care of women's health and men's health and your children's health.
Something he's been repeating on the campaign trail.
I'm going to let him go wild on health. I'm going to let him go wild on the food. I'm going to let him go wild on medicines.
Kennedy insists Trump made him a very specific promise.
The key that I think that President Trump has promised me is control of the public health agencies, which are HHS and its sub-agencies, CDC, FDA, NIH, and a few others, and then also the USDA, which is key to making America healthy.
Tonight, sources tell ABC News Kennedy has already recommended a fellow vaccine skeptic to be Secretary of Health and Human Services in a Trump administration, Dr. Joseph Ladapo, currently Surgeon General of Florida. During the pandemic, Ladapo repeatedly questioned the effectiveness of COVID vaccines. Today, Trump asked if he agrees with Kennedy about vaccines.
Are you comfortable with his views on vaccines, Mr. President?
We'll be talking about a lot of things, but he's going to have a big role in healthcare, a very big role.
Is it HHS maybe?
He knows it better than anybody. He's got some views that I happen to agree with very strongly, and I have for a long time. I mean, for years, you and I would agree. We'll be seeing it as a...
What about his views on vaccine and maybe a position at HHS?
All of these things will be talked about.
Vice President Kamala Harris today attacking the idea that Trump would put Kennedy in charge of America's health system.
He has indicated that the person who would be in charge of health care for the American people is someone who has routinely promoted junk science and crazy conspiracy theories, who once expressed support for a national abortion ban, and who is the exact last person in America who should be setting health care policy for America's families and children.
David, Donald Trump has a rally tonight in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This weekend, he heads to Pennsylvania and Georgia. But, David, look at this. He's making 3 stops in battleground North Carolina, a state he won in 2016 and in 2020. Those stops in the final weekend of this campaign shows just how much that state is a must-win for his campaign, David.
Rachel Scott on the Trump campaign tonight. Rachel, thanks to you as well.